All right, all right. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to the Onyx Report. Hope everybody's good. Let's get everything going in here. Let me see. All right, so we got some people who came through early. Much appreciated. What's up, Mr. Z? What's going on? Ahmed, what's happening? Got Thomas in here. Okay, let me see. You can get that out of here. Okay. Grab the second gear. What's up, Keith? Who man? What's up, Charles? What's going on, Charles? All right. Got Roy in here. Calvin, what's up? Chaos, what's up? Robert. Cartoons. Let's see here. Weebert, Jeff, the writer, Afro Merchant, what's up? Kilo Mike, LXST, what's happening? Ezekiel, got everybody in here. Chef Mike, what's good, man? Hope you're well. Yeah. Well, I just thought I would get a short one in today because I wanted to get a chance to talk about a video clip we've seen on YouTube before. I actually never watched the whole thing. I've seen clips from it here and there, but it was a discussion that I thought would be interesting to recover, especially with a little bit of help. What's up, Johnson? Code Father, Barry, what's up? We got Hyper Walker. We got Misters and Man, what's up? Yeah. So let me go ahead and actually let me get my system right. So you know the deal: like, share, subscribe, join, donate, hit the hype, support the show, so we can continue to bring you these independent black male thoughts. And you can support on, right here on YouTube. You can do that with the Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, or Patreon. And then, of course, there's the Institute for Black Male Studies, which is also on Patreon. You can support there as well. You can support both through the main Patreon that's listed on the screen, or you can go to the Institute for Black Male Studies and support there. So hopefully you will. There's a lot of information I've been putting up on Black men and the Black Male Studies piece. So I hope you guys check it out. In the meantime, let me go ahead and bring up my guest. What's up, BGS?
Hey, Doc, what's going on?
Not too much, man. I wanted to cover an older interview that goes back to 1970, and I thought who else would be better to bring in to help me break some of this down, because I was born in 74. So this is actually my mother's probably. I'd say the 80s were more her heyday, but anyway, but this is young boomer women talking about what it means to be women, and I thought it might be interesting to cover. What's up, Dr. L?
Yeah, some of these are actually silent generation, like the older women are actually silent.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, and I wanted to know. Oh yeah, hold on, let me appreciate that. Incognito, all right, BGS tax in effect. Thank you for that. I wanted to kind of help lay out some context before this interview, just as a kind of snapshot on where Black America is in the 1970s. And who best to ask but yourself? How would you, if you were teaching a class and you got a bunch of 19 and 20-year-olds who don't know anything about the 1970s, how would you set up, the context for this conversation? What's going on in Black America at this point?
For the most part, man, Black America is like 10 years post sharecropping.
Okay.
About 10 years post sharecropping. People, in fact, if you look at some of the movies there, they were still sharecropping back in the late in the mid 60s. So we're like 10 years post Jim Crow sharecropping.
Right.
So we're just coming out of that phase where they made the decision to actually integrate Black people into the society, and they're trying to figure out how to do it. And so you're actually going from a maternal, a matriarchal, I would say gynocratic based rural society, which is sharecropping and in Jim Crow, into a individualistic urban setting, patriarchal setting, which is white America.
Okay.
So what you're seeing right now is how, especially with these women, how do we move from the old way to the way that we're being forced into?
Okay. So this is fresh off the Great Migration, or at
Yeah,
least
yeah,
some
yeah.
of the last
Right in the
things.
middle of it. Right in the middle of it, really. Because the
Okay.
Great Migration started in, I would say, the mid '50s, and it probably went all the way into the, I would say, the almost the '80s.
Okay. Let's see here. Shout out to John Smith. Appreciate that. Also, Michael Malice. Let's see. His YouTube has been deleted a few times. Talking about
Your channel.
Hezekiah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Hezekiah. Hezekiah. Yeah, yeah. He goes through that all the time, where they take his channel.
Yeah. No, this one is from what is this? Conscientious Thoughts.
Okay.
But I could swear I've seen it on Hezekiah though.
Yeah, he was the first one actually posted years ago.
Yeah, I think he was.
It's been on there a few times. In fact, it's I think the whole piece is like maybe an hour documentary. Okay,
Yeah.
when we've been shown segments of it.
Yeah, this is about 52 minutes.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was executive produced by Tony Brown. This
Makes
particular one. So I like I said, I've seen clips, but I never actually watched it all the way through. And I thought it would be a good opportunity, a good moment to kind of do that, because there's so much that's happening now that I believe is connected to the 1960s and 70s. And I think a lot of people are oblivious to that, especially Black women. So I think it'd be interesting to kind of see, because when I was doing a video, there's a piece on TSG Uncut where he did an interview of some people in the 1980s.
Right.
And you could hear in the conversation, the women were already talking about men are intimidated by us and we're doing so much better than they. I mean, these things were being said in the 1980s. You could already hear it.
Yeah.
But there was no acknowledgement that they had been given a pass that Black men didn't get. And the interesting thing is, Black men didn't say it, and Black women didn't say it. Black women just decided to measure our value against what they were able to access. But neither side would acknowledge the difference in access.
I guess it was still new. Okay, it's still new.
But it's an argument we're still having, because to this day, women still are gaslighting Black men about the access they've had, and now that it's been mostly removed, now you're starting to see conversations about, well, maybe we should revisit the nuclear family.
The thing is, okay, as long as we're Black men willing to be gaslit, they're going to keep gaslighting you. Okay, why would they stop? Why would they stop something that works?
And I think that's the question, because more and more men are pushing back, which is not something we used to do. We didn't really have an opportunity to compare notes on any major scale.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
So it wasn't that Black men were incapable or unwilling. It's just we had not had that conversation.
Well, I was telling Jeff a few days ago, right? We're having this conversation. You got to remember, Black men were kept in a box for a very long time. Okay, we weren't allowed to date out. I mean, I think your generation, Gen X, was the first to kind of get a peek of what it was like to date out, even though it was limited. When you were young, it was still limited. Okay, it wasn't as limited as it was to the previous generation. But even you, as a Gen Xer, okay, your how you date is vastly different than how your son dates now. Your son can date an Asian, can date a Caucasian, can date a Black girl, can date a Latina girl, and it's really no difference, okay? Because there's no box, okay? When I was coming up, kid, there was a box.
Yeah. Well, the box was opening when I was coming up, but there were still a lot of barriers to that, and I got a lot of stories about that.
You told me a couple stories about your cross dating and what happened to you, how the society responded to you. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they let you know that we not gonna appreciate you getting out this box, Negro.
Right. But it's vastly different now.
It's vastly different now. Yeah.
It's a very different discussion, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to cover this particular piece, because I think in many ways, now we talk about the gynocracy and we've been doing so for years.
Yes.
And I think it's important because that's, to me, the missing piece in understanding Black America and Black history. That's one piece we haven't been allowed to talk about, and it is the missing piece that holds it all together.
It's the one thing where Black women try to deny that there is, and then try to reinforce on the other end. When it comes down to making black men do something, they try to enforce their dominance over us.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to admit to it. They want to hide their hands.
Yeah. They'll hide their hands and hit you over the head with their club. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Shout out to B Hunter and the Calvin for the support. So he says, I believe social media is playing a role in black women negative mindset toward black men today. I mean,
Even before social media, this is well before social media. Social media didn't become a thing until really didn't become a thing until the iPhone in the mid aughts. Okay, and this stuff was going on with Oprah and even before Oprah.
No, it definitely was,
Mhm.
but social media was like pouring, gas on a match. I mean, it took everything up because it made all of this that much more accessible.
It did. The thing is, what it did is actually reveal to black men how black women really thought. Okay, because people think social media is responsible for how black women treat us. No, this stuff has been passed down from their great grandmothers all the way down. Okay, these are habits that have been passed down.
But
from mother to daughter.
And that's what I was just about to say, though. In hindsight, it shouldn't have had to take social media because we grew up in the same households. We were raised by these women. We grew up in families dominated by these women.
Yes.
A lot of what we saw on social media, we were already introduced to. But I will say it processes a little different when you see your mother do something like this.
Right.
And you try and interpret in different ways, but when you watch it on social media, and you see 100 different women doing the same thing, not seeing it at all.
Yeah.
It's now you can deal with it.
And you have black men on social media that aren't being filtered and telling you that we disagree with this, okay, which you hadn't had before.
Yep. Shout out to Wrench Turner. Shout out to Kiel. Appreciate the support. Hope y'all are well. But yeah, it definitely changed the conversation. I think, we could no longer just give all black women a pass, which was something we were conditioned to do, because it became very apparent. And man, by the time smartphone, the utility of having a video camera on you, because if you grew up in the era prior to that, I mean, even if you go back to Rodney King,
right?
It was like a bolt of lightning that somebody had a video camera right at that moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
You had to have a video camera ready to go. It wasn't simple, and that's why the Rodney King thing was such a shock to so many people. Is because who had a video camera when something like that was happening? Most of the time,
that's true. Yeah, it was just rumor and innuendo, or stories. Yeah,
absolutely. And white liberals and conservatives could argue that it didn't happen at all because there was no video evidence a lot of the time. But now that technology is so easy to access, and it's exposing us to black women's nature, their behavior beyond what we're told and what we're gaslit about.
Yes.
But this particular piece, again, it's an interesting discussion. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up, and we will dive in. And by the way, shout out to Tony Brown, who recently passed. Shout out to the brother. He executive produces this, so we can check it out from here. This is the Black woman, Amina Baraka. And you can see, as it states in the description box here, this is dated 1970. Roundtable discussion facilitated by Jean Fairfax on being black in America. Queen Mother Amina Baraka silences everyone with her commanding conviction to appeal to her fellow sisters in the struggle for the freedom and nationhood of the people who are called blacks in America.
All right. Queen Mother.
Queen Mother, right?
Yeah.
This is the Black Journal, I suppose. But let's go ahead and delve in, and whenever you want me to stop, just let me know.
Okay.
This show will concentrate on one of the greatest institutions in the world. In order to get the real feelings and perspective of our sister, we went to her. A group was brought together with as many differences as likenesses, but held together by the common thread of the black experience. Another institution was added, Sister Lena Horne, who can, from first experience, speak about survival if you are born a woman and black in this society. Our woman has borne us, nurtured us, and saved our race, and in the process, she often got the worst of it.
And saved our race.
As a unique institution, the black woman remains.
Mm-hmm. Even back then, and she saved our race.
You know, the deference that we've always kind of shown is interesting to me, and I definitely don't see it returned. But man,
I believe the role of a black woman is to work for a just society, the kind of a society in which children can grow up without fear.
Guess who else said that about a just society? The black woman's role is work for a just society.
Yeah,
Pauli Murray said the exact same thing.
Oh, okay. And where was Murray in 1970?
Pauli Murray was part of Now, and I think she was teaching at an Ivy League school, if I'm not mistaken. Columbia, maybe, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't you think so?
Really, to boil it all down, black woman is mother civilization.
You can stop right there too.
Actually,
Okay. Hit it.
We still hearing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did she say? Black woman is the mother of civilization, right?
Right.
Okay. Queen mother, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Still hearing it.
You know, and I've always found it interesting. This was before I'd ever reflected on a gynocracy in any kind of conscious way, but there was always a queen mother, but I never saw a king father. That was what was interesting to me. You always had queens, you had goddesses, you had queen mothers, but for some reason there was never a king father.
There's never a king, yes.
But when you looked at any spiritual tradition that had a pantheon, even across the continent, they always had a king father.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, where in the translation does the man somehow disappear, even conceptually? As we use this mythological language to reframe who we are, it never seems to include black men.
Yeah, she's not a millennial. She's a silent generation. Okay.
So this goes back.
You know what? Like I said, I remember my great grandmother, who I knew before she died, was born in 1879. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is not new.
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. And this is unfortunately what we're still dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I show a clip in my classes that comes from Julia Hare before she passed. And I remember she was doing one of those annual State of Black America talks, and she talked about the queen mother, or the goddess of the universe, and then she talked about the black man as the soldier and the warrior.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I have a great deal of respect for both Nathan and Julia Hare, but I just found it real interesting the way she framed that, because the crowd went nuts and all that good stuff. But when I thought about it, and it actually took me several years, I had to revisit it a couple times. I was like, wait a minute, how exactly is there a queen mother and then the brother's just a drone and a warrior?
Mm-hmm.
You know what every queen has? A king.
Has a king, yeah.
Who she answers to.
Mm-hmm.
Except we don't include that kind of language, but it's okay for men to answer to her. Where do we get this beehive bullshit from, man?
It was imposed upon us by the people that created our culture, which is white people. They put the woman in charge over the family.
Well, what state support?
Yeah, purposely. Yeah, they still do. Most of the wealth is driven through the black female. Okay, very hard for a black man to actually independently, without a female, operate financially in this society. Okay,
and this. Oh, go ahead. Finish your point.
No, it's what I'm saying. They look at renting an apartment, buying a house, all that kind of stuff. They look at you funny and double check you if you don't have not connected to female, because you consider the rogue black male.
You kind of borging out a little bit.
That's you consider the rogue black male. If you're not connected to a female.
If you're not connected to a female, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. You're looked at as a utility. If you're doing well,
yes.
You're looked at as a utility that's not properly in use.
Yes.
And even back in the day, because you and I used to laugh about this, but in this era, an older woman, if she saw you and you're making the six figures of your day, you got your own house and car, but you're unmarried,
right?
They wouldn't necessarily hit on you as older women. They would tie you with their daughters and introduce you to nieces. I mean, it was a regular occurrence, but a man with no woman to take care of was seen as just almost like a loose horse.
Yeah, a wild horse. Okay, a rogue black male.
Yeah, you were a rogue.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, get back to this here.
That's it. She's the mother of the earth. She bears forth the fruit to fertilize the soil.
I agree.
I agree. I think we have overlooked the fact that black women have been for the white nation. They have sucked us dry. That we have nursed the children, we have fed them, we have done everything, put all our energies, all our work into working for the white family. And now it's time for us to take all our strength, all the strength that Monahan says we have. We're supposed to be the strongest women anyway. It's time for us to take all our strength.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't let it pass. We got to talk about it. The Moynihan Report has been maligned for generations,
Mm-hmm.
but you've been one of the most forthright on discussing it in the last decade in terms of what it either got right or what was important that the black community buried simply because it was mentioned by Moynihan. Now she has this kind of dig, a slight dig, and if you don't understand what's going on, you might have missed it. But there was a little dig in there as far as the Moynihan Report.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about what she's doing and why.
Basically, the Moynihan report it did two things. Okay, number one, it said that the because of the treatment that the black community was actually put in, they became a matriarchal, woman-centered community. That's number one, right? Even during the report, even back then, 3/4 of your valedictorians were female or black female. Okay, most of your college students were black female. Okay. And this is actually done intentionally through the Mohawk Conference, right? Because under them, black men didn't have to be educated. Okay, education was for the black female. That was done on purpose. So Moynihan was saying that if you wanted to integrate a rural matriarchal society into an urban patriarchal society, you're gonna have to do what? You're gonna have to bring the males up.
Yeah.
And black women have problems with centering the males. They still do.
Just
centering black males. Okay, that's how come they hated the James Earl Jones piece I did, because he said that that black women were taking a non-feminine stance, and they were so used to wielding the rolling pin they didn't want to give it up.
Right now,
and they still do. Good.
In the academic world, what they did with that argument was suggest that everything idealized as feminine was a product of white supremacy. Now, on the surface, especially if you come out of Africana Studies, that sounds nice. But what it also does is it kind of suggests that there is no softness to black women, and there never has been, even on the continent. And somehow this masculinized idea is somehow, authentically black or African. So the hostility, the contempt, the misandry, the disrespect, all of that, they kind of valorize as definitions of strength, while criticizing any notion of femininity as just being a product of white supremacy. Right. Okay. So they kind of do two things at once with this language. And then the third thing they also do with it is slight black men who actually want feminine women by just suggesting, well, you just really fundamentally all you want is a white woman. That's really what the low key language is doing. Because if you were a real black man, you would take all this contempt, hostility, and disrespect and appreciate it.
I mean, if you look at black women, okay, especially upper class black women, who do they actually aspire to be? They aspire to be what? White women. And have the same power as white women.
While competing with men.
And they're using black men as stepping stools. But that's the thing that the Moynihan Report pointed out, and that was a negative to black. It put them in a poor light, even though it's factual. Okay, it put the black community in a poor light, and he got it from two documents. And they never talk about Kenneth Clark's Dark Ghetto, ever.
But Moynihan wasn't the only, as you pointed out with Clark. Moynihan wasn't the only one to point out a gynocracy, even though they didn't use that language at the time. Check this out. A lot of people don't know about this. This is Dr. Martin Luther King. You know, this is a quote from his book, Where Do We Go From Here? And it says, moreover, the women, being more generally in the house and charged with the care of the white master's children, were more often exposed to some education and a sense, though minimal, of personal worth. Hence, a matriarchy had early developed.
Yes, on purpose.
Yeah,
on purpose.
He's talking about this in 1967. That's
Yes.
three years before this interview is taking place. He's
Yes.
publishing this.
Yeah, and Du Bois said it with the Philadelphia Negro, and so did Frazier in the Negro family.
But what they've successfully done is taken the whole idea of a matriarchy, tied it to Moynihan, flushed Moynihan, and anything he was talking about is irrelevant. And so now, if you even bring up this idea of a gynocracy or a matriarchy, it's considered bad taste. It's considered uninformed.
Moynihan wanted to flip the black community from a matriarchy or gynocracy to a patriarchy. Okay, and black women were opposed to that. They still are.
Still are. So you can't even raise the point. And even on YouTube, you have people left and right that'll come up and say, well, there's no such thing as a gynocracy. There's no such. If you just were more of a man, women would submit. And I'm like, where do y'all get these talking points from?
It's two things, okay? It's the black female denial and gaslight and the black male ego. I'm just as good as a white man runs his household, he runs his society, he's the one in charge, and I want to be, you know, and I run my family too, because that makes me feel like a man, even though it's not true.
Yeah. Well, the thing I talk about is, you know, there is a difference to me between a matriarchy and a gynocracy. And, you know, you'll find matriarchies here and there. I'm not going to suggest that they're all over the place, but you'll find them. A gynocracy is a uniquely created circumstance. This is not a naturally occurring dynamic.
No.
Right. It's very much a product of the subsidization of the West. It's targeted toward black women. And I think it's the most effective way of dismantling a cohesive community by reversing the gender order that most of the Western world kind of framed on, and many parts of the continent itself. There were patriarchies in Africa.
Or keep the community that you have been under subservient.
Well, yeah, because they become dependent.
They become dependent, okay, and the men cannot rise in the society except through the actions of women.
Right. So what happens from there?
Yeah, like even after emancipation, Diane Stewart actually talks about it, right? She says that for a freed slave or a black man to actually own land, he had to get married, had to have a wife. Okay, he couldn't. A free slave that was a single man had a lot of difficulty acquiring land, acquiring business, acquiring money. Okay, he had to take on a wife.
So if you're effectively, you know, denied the capacity to build wealth, let alone pass it down,
right,
you're denied the opportunity to find accessible means to take care of your own family. But the women are virtually handed means, whether they're abject poverty or whether they're middle class. They're able to have greater access to everything from welfare to a college education, which in the 1970s was made tantamount to middle class access.
It was, yes. It was gateway to middle class. Yeah,
it was. It's changed recently, right? Because we have other things going on from STEM to AI. But in the 1970s, getting a college degree meant middle class access, white collar employment.
Yes.
You know, and so I saw it in my own family, the difference between men's access and women's, and it always got me. The women never turned around and said, you know what? As much as we know, as much as we've studied, it's easy for us to see our men don't have the same access. They didn't do that. They said you're trifling because you can't do what I do.
Yeah. We saw that with Barack Obama's My Brother's Keeper. Okay. They saw that with in 91 when the Bush, out of all the people, the Bush administration actually wanted initiative to actually have all male black boys schools. Okay. Guess who fought it? It wasn't white women. It was black women. They didn't want it.
Oh. Yeah. And then every now and again, we'll have some of these gynocrats come in the chat and want to regulate and tell black men what to think and put you right back under the same gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that over here.
No.
We don't do that. Anyway, let's let them continue.
All our milk, all of that, and put it into working for the black nation.
I'd like to touch on something here. I'm glad you brought this up, and I don't know what reaction this is going to get because a lot of people jump at me when I say it. But unfortunately, all people in this country, black people and white people, are subjugated to the same system of media, are subjugated to the same systems of communication, are subjugated to the same conditioning. And that's something we definitely have to reckon with if we're going to ever get through any of this stuff. Moynihan, that's sort of the name that's associated with that word matriarchy, definitely has to be dealt with.
I'd like to deal with him
Right.
face to face.
Right. I think that unfortunately, a lot of us, black men and black women, believe in the myth of that matriarchy. And I think that belief engenders a lot of negative things. Number one, it says that matriarchy is inferior to patriarchy, which is a whole thing right there. You see that patriarchy is a sort of natural or divine order of things, which is not so. Two, that black men have believed and internalized the myth of white womanhood in this country and Anglo-Saxon impositions.
Didn't
so
we
that
just
they
say
take
that?
us in relation to where white women are.
There's two things a woman, I believe, being a black woman and a very proud black woman, can do for a man: make him or break him. And then you take into
Whoa.
how the
What did
black
she
man-
just say?
Go ahead.
A black woman can do what for a black man? Make him or what? Or break him? She's in control. Not vice versa. Mama can make you or break you. But you know, we've heard this, man. Yeah, I mean, you're a black man raised by a black mother. You've heard this all your life. It's not new.
No, that was the primary means that black men internalized it. We heard it from mothers and aunties, elder women. Were the first to indoctrinate black males with this idea. Right. So every generation becomes more and more, really kind of accepting of this until it reached a fever pitch, which I think in the last decade, 10 to 15 years, maybe, you finally started to see black men pushing back against, especially online. The first moment we actually got to compare notes.
Yeah.
So wait, you I'm in California, you're in New York, and y'all are dealing with this, and wait, and you're in Alabama, and you're in Texas, and you're in Wisconsin, and then you start getting people writing from Britain and South Africa, and you're like, wait a minute, we're all going through this same shit. No, changes the game.
Changes the game. Yeah.
Here we go.
Has been berated by the white man. His woman, adequately couldn't have the luxuries of another woman born the same just like her. This man has to, black men have stood by for a very, very long time and been humiliated by the system. He can't get the job that this fella can get. He must understand that his wife might have to go on welfare. He has to stay in the military of that. He has to watch the plumber duck if the welfare worker come in there. You understand me? He has always been made to feel he's below the next man. So you must take into consideration. Now black men are learning, that they're part. They're beginning to feel like a man. They're getting their dignity and their pride back. So he needs a woman to keep on pushing it. Vice versa, when you say about, in the system, this system has destroyed actually the black man, because everything that we've ever done, there's no part of this country that you can say, if you touch that a black man didn't bring it in here. Everything that they built, they've never been able to share with it. I don't even want to hear it. What society have done, just took our black men and destroyed their manhood. That's what they've done. Aid and abetted.
I'm certainly not in disagreement. I'm in 200% agreement with everything you said. I think we all are.
It might not be, we understand that what the brothers are going through now, as you say, the cultural national, but mightn't it all be very revolutionary, and you might be the better woman for understanding that at this point they need you to walk a few feet behind and get their manhood together. So if it takes that, then I'm going to do whatever the brothers need now. I mean, I've been doing a lot of research on slavery and talk about wiping out and ripping off our people. They did it to the black man. They did it. And if it takes, at this point, a cultural national say you got to walk 4 paces behind me, baby, slow. If that might be revolutionary, I'll do that. I mean, I'm going to do anything at this point.
All right, now BGS, talk a little bit about this moment right here, what she's talking about, in case, especially if you have people that are not familiar with the discussion in the 1970s. What was going on here?
In other words, she's recognizing that they had put the woman in ahead of the black man, right? And for them to go forward, okay, she's going to have to push him forward. She will have to actually help him get recognized as the head of the household, head of society, right? So she's gonna walk a few steps backwards, okay, and subjugate herself, okay, or basically reduce herself so he can actually shine and be forward. Okay, that's what she's saying. Okay, because the white society has stripped him of all that. That's what Dr. Curry was saying, right, about with the man not. Okay, this white society has stripped him of what they deem as manhood. And she was saying that they had put the black woman in the place of the man. So it was up, if she actually wants this society to actually progress, she's going to have to take a step backwards. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, even though that goes against what most black women feel. Why should I walk 4 steps behind a man?
Right. And we can tell the one with the straighter hair is the feminist in the bunch. So you'll hear her rebut this in a second. But here we are.
Is that revolutionary? How revolutionary is it if one half of us is in condescension and a kind of almost fear, saying, walking 10 paces behind you, saying that in order for me to, quote, regain my manhood, I have to deny you your peoplehood. No, is that revolutionary? I think we really have to explore that. If somebody really needs that, I don't. We just have to do whatever we need to do to help. See, that says to me that you really believe that there has been this thing called a matriarchy that, as Moynihan, I believe we've been ripped off as a people. Black people have been ripped off. No, we haven't been ripped off. But you're not saying the internal thing that really. I take that back. Black people haven't been ripped. Black people have been raped of every ounce of human things that's entitled and do another human being.
Right. Do you know how we really can't get this together? And really, because to me, it's very alien, and we shouldn't be sitting here talking about defining something which has been defined for us. We should be about redefinition. And I don't particularly care whether I walk alongside, in back of, or in front of. That is going to have to be defined for me by my man. We know too well what our being is all about in the United States of Europe. We have to deal with that. That's why I started out by saying, are we talking about changes within existing systems? Because that's all we're talking about. We're talking about a black nation within a European nation. And if we have to deal with that, then let's redefine our own culture and stop being a subculture. Stop worrying about the man. That's deifying him. Who is the man?
Now I can say I used to see these kind of debates when I attended the National Council for Black Studies conferences, even up through I'd say the first 5 or 6 years of the 2000s. And what it was is you'd see debates between womanists and feminists.
Okay.
Black feminists and black womanists it would have these kinds of debates. And there are also Africana feminists and Africana womanists. It depends on the scale you want to look at. But the central focus of it, though, were that feminists identified women as the central unit of analysis and raised the question of whether or not they were being, they had full access to the capacity, especially to control the family and so on and so forth. But womanists had a different position. Womanists, they argued that we were all on the auction blocks.
Right.
And that black men didn't have a historical patriarchy that to systemically dominate black women. So they actually, if we oversimplified it, at least I believe it's an oversimplification, they argued that race came before gender, whereas the feminists argued gender came before race in terms of application and how they actually debated. And what you're seeing in this is actually what I would call a somewhat feminist versus womanist argument. Now, womanists didn't always have that identification. It never got the same kind of widespread traction that feminism did because, of course, white women identified themselves as feminists. So you call yourself a black feminist, that had traction, that went with that. Womanism, that it didn't have the same kind of traction, but you had a number of them that were arguing for some decades. And really, in many ways, they were more like working class black women who had lived experience. Feminism was really something you had to go to college to really get into. Most of the time you ran across a black feminist, she'd been college educated. Womanists were the ones that were still, the way they operated, they tended to still be woman first, but they often had families, they had sons, they had husbands, and they did not, villainize black men in the same kind of fashion. What I've seen since roughly 2005 or so is the mass diminishment in the presence of womanists. They're hard to find now. Even the womanists that I see calling themselves womanists, have the same talking points as black feminists.
Yeah, they've been resocialized. Yeah,
and almost absorbed ideologically
mm-hmm.
into this kind of feminism. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't hear this as much anymore. And of course, even by the time I saw them debating, they weren't debating these points about walking behind a man or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the larger point was still in question. If I know that black men have been historically alienated and erased from the conversation, what then is my role if I've been given greater access? And yet I love these black men in my lives. These were the kind of questions they were asking.
Right.
And I don't hear those questions being asked anymore. But I don't know. What about you?
Pauline Murder's talked about, if you read the I think it's 46 or 47, Pauline Murray wrote about the two crows. Okay. She was saying that black men were subjugated.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying that black men should take on the love of white women.
Wow.
Even though they didn't. Okay. Black men didn't. White women were actually dangerous to black men. Black men didn't worship white women. They were too afraid to.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Were too great.
But as soon as they passed Loving versus Virginia, all of a sudden black men just all of a sudden had lust for all these white women.
Well, that seemed to be the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Still is.
And what's interesting, I think you pointed this out the other day, and I've thought about it before for the last few years anyway, but I think you were talking about passport bros, and you were making the point, if you actually look at where they go in the world, very rarely do you hear about black passport bros going to Europe.
Right. Normally it's passport sis going to Europe. It's not passport bro.
See?
Mm-hmm.
But somehow that gets erased from the conversation. And you know, I remember when Passport Bros kind of kicked off, the first thing I heard from black women in response was they just want white women, which is the same thing you hear in 1970 about interracial relations. It's all black men who want black women, want white women.
Right.
But when you actually look at black men's behavior and where they go and what they do, I mean, the majority of Passport Bros I've met directly, they found black women.
Yeah.
From other countries.
Yeah, we black men have been socialized that white women are inherently dangerous to us. Okay. So you'll find some black men that are bold and sometimes even marry white women out of necessity, but most time black men don't choose them. In fact, the white woman has to choose you. It's not us choosing them.
Yeah.
We black men, especially in America, cannot choose a white woman. You got to choose us. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know, when you get down to the accusation,
yes,
are black men ravenously chasing after white women simply because? Now,
no. It's a projection by black women. Because guess who they desire? Even in feminist literature, they desire white men.
We can see extreme examples among black men and women chasing after white folk, but you actually have to ask the question on a macro level. And what is it we're seeing?
Yeah,
you know, black men are going to South America. They're going to the Caribbean. They're going to Africa. They're going to Asia.
Right.
But I haven't heard any huge movement of men going to Europe.
There has never been a whole movement, even SYSBM, who actually do date and marry white women, where they actually project white women as the preferred spouse. They don't. You know, you might see pictures of proms where in mixed schools where black men have been chosen by white women, but you've never heard black men choose white women as a preferred spouse. They don't.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
I agree with you. Sorry, go ahead. No, I just wanted to mention in terms of cultural nationalism and what brothers feel. I don't know, if it's all true that brothers would like you to walk 10 paces in back of them. But I do know that we do have a definite role. And until we play our definite role, they cannot play their definite role. And our roles are complementary, complete and make perfect that which is imperfect. And that if we go about being the inspiration of the nation, and again, educating the children of the nation and participating in the social development of the nation, that it would be no problem. And when we say we should not discuss things, we start out to discuss them. Like, why raise Monahan if he's invalid? Don't raise him. Don't talk about him.
I really believe this very strongly, that as much as we would all like to say that and struggle every day re-examining ourselves to do just that we are unfortunately
very much a part of that dominant culture. It does affect us. Now, if it didn't affect us, we wouldn't be fighting crackers. And that's the truth of it. If it didn't affect us, we wouldn't get mad about what Mr. Moynihan writes. And if it didn't affect us, certain people would not react to the myth of the matriarchy in the way they do. And that's why it has to be exposed and destroyed. It's not that I really want to spend time talking about Mr. Moynihan. It's that I think that we have to get rid of the illusions, we have to get rid of the poisons, we have to get rid of the lies. And one way to do that is expose it and dissect it.
The other way, if we create a new life, a new value system and live it as an example.
That's what I'm talking about.
That would probably be the best way. Because then people could see it as a living thing and not as a theory. Because what we need to do is to reestablish a new value system. That's what Black people need.
Right, and how exactly, and how do we go about that?
We go about it the way you go about daily work. First of all, you decide what you want. You establish your values and you start to live it. And the people in your community, you start talking to your neighbors. You get yourself together first.
Exactly.
Then you get your community together.
We're in agreement.
Then you get your neighbors together.
We're in agreement.
Right. And then you can move on out. But in the beginning, you got to make sure you got yourself together.
Right.
Okay.
You have to start right here.
But I think we ought to be sure we understand what she's saying. Now, this relates to what you said earlier about the Black nation, right?
Exactly.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by the Black nation.
I mean, Black people's lives, being self-determining, defining yourself, naming yourself, and having political power. We're a nation already without political power and military power. We're a cultural nation without political and military power. We're a nation, you know, in captivity by another people, people who have a totally different culture than we have, who cannot even relate to the things that we relate to. That is the problem. And as Black women, we have to be the inspiration for the nation, for our men. We have to start out into the community educating the children, educating ourselves. Because once we educate ourselves, the children will become educated, because we are the ones that teach the children. We are the ones that decorate the homes. We are the ones that are with both female and male children. We are the ones that the children look to as the image in terms of their daily education. So it is important that we don't get our values mixed up and feel that we have to educate the world. We haven't first educated ourselves. It's still always a self thing.
Indeed.
I mean, the world will relate to us once we can relate to ourselves. I mean, and I think we're afraid of definitions and afraid to set guidelines because we might have to live by them. If you stand up and say a Black woman should do this and that, then you might have to do that. But if you say, well, we don't have to say anything, you know, we can just do it. Do what? So like everybody can do their own thing. But every society needs a value system. Every society has a criteria in which they live by.
And we live by everybody else's.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Before we go any further, I want to highlight something, because they're having this conversation about the matriarchy and whatnot. I want to put this up, and I put a link to it in the chat. But I did this a while ago for a reason. I wanted it to be simplified. I wrote about this in my book, but this one is on a website on my blog, newblackmasculinities.wordpress.com. And you can find the 16-point policy foundation of the Black Gynocracy. This is October 11th, 2025. Now, this is the short list. It's all hyperlinked to a longer list where you can go into more detail. And there's actually a show where I dealt with it when it was still at 12 points. But anyway, here it breaks down all the components that basically create and subsidize the existence of a gynocracy, right? From experience with racism to access to welfare, Title IX, K through 12, the difference in access to resources, media access, unemployment rates, incarceration numbers, draft policies. These are the tent poles that create the context for women having an advantage. A lot of people think of matriarchy is like some kind of kingdom where women are sitting on a throne and men are kissing their feet. That's superficial. That's not how it functions. If you have a relatively poor community with very little wealth, let alone inherited wealth, and you're living in a larger country, you're a relatively small percentage in that country. Right. Because we're one of the only Black folk in the world that don't have a home to go to. We don't have a place we can point to.
No.
You know what I mean? A Jamaican American can say, I'm going back to Jamaica. Black Americans can't do it. The most we can do is say we're going back to a continent. That's kind of where that goes. So when you're talking about an embedded group that's a relatively small percentage that has very little wealth, but had a global impact that nobody anticipated. From entertainment, music to politics, you name it. Black folk here had a global impact that nobody anticipated. that's a whole nother conversation about why they needed to undermine the Black community, because we had a lot of impact that they didn't anticipate. But when we look at how women get an advantage, these are the policy-based practices that put women in a position of advantage, especially the family court. Who gets custody of the kids? Who gets child support? Who gets alimony? Those things had a fundamental impact on the very structure of the Black family.
Even before the custody of infants with Caroline Norton, okay, Black men never had control of their children, ever. Ever.
No.
Ever.
But that's a huge difference right there in terms of our experience here and who gets. I mean, if anything, Black women have enough control to determine who's even in the family.
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
And then they rewrote the narrative. In the 1980s, what you started to hear more than anything else was that Black men were deadbeat dads. But there was no conversation about how many Black women were able to use the state to expel Black men from families.
Yeah,
you had to have kids that came back when they were adults to get the story of what happened to their fathers from their father.
You know, the bulk of welfare that Black women. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We can hear you.
Okay. Even because I had read this. I had read this online. I had read this in a couple of books, and Diane Stewart just reiterated that in her book. Okay, welfare for Black women was not available until the early 1960s. Okay, for the most part, you had states here and there to allow women to get on welfare. But for the most part, Black women did not get welfare until the 1960s, okay, until 1961, right? Which is why Moynihan created his scissors in his report, is because he knows there was a divergence between labor and welfare in the Black community.
Right.
So basically, Black women use the welfare system to actually eject men from the family. They could have chosen to stick with their man like most other groups. Okay, they didn't.
No. And that is another reflection on what kind of resources they were able to get from the state and use to their own capacity. So I've seen some people who and some people who I respect who try and argue against the notion of a matriarchy, and what they'll do is they'll pull out a traditional definition of a matriarchy as it applies to India or wherever else in history. And they say, well, if this was what Black Americans have, it would look exactly like that. No, what Black Americans have is unique. And truthfully, I've only seen it here and Jamaica.
Yeah.
Like when we look at Errol Miller's work, and you and I did a show years ago covering one of his papers. Those are only two places I've actually seen gynocracy.
Even under a matriarchy, ancient matriarchy, they had kings. Okay. They had kings, had men in charge. Okay? Even under a traditional matriarchy. Look at the Native Americans with their matriarchies. Okay? They're chiefs. Their chiefs were not females. The chiefs were actually chosen by the females to represent them.
Yeah, because people think of matriarchy as just a reverse patriarchy.
Patriarchy, which is why we call what we have as the gynocracy. Okay,
right.
Because the women are in charge. The men are not in charge in our society. Okay.
But I don't even think they understand what a patriarchy is. I think a lot of that has become almost fantastical in itself. They think, because a lot of them think that a patriarchy means that just men rule. That's
part of it. That's a small part of it, but that's not the complete part of it.
Well, but it's a superficial reading of that too, because even when they talk about that, say when you talk about voting in the United States, right? They had this idea that all men just ruled and did. First of all, if you have to differentiate this by class, you have to. There's so many different areas you got to. Men, in and of itself, most men are under the heel of a very small group. But this idea that all men just enjoy, like we're all sitting on thrones sipping champagne. I don't know what this shit is, but it's such a superficial reading. It doesn't work that way. And even when you get to the bottom of that discussion of what a patriarchy is, especially in the West, then you have to have a conversation about black men separate from that, because we were never a part of that.
No, we were never had a patriarchy ever. Not in the Americas. Okay,
no,
never had that. Okay, even with freed black men, they had no rights to their children.
No, but I think the superficial idea of patriarchy that a lot of feminists push is that as long as you had a penis, you were in a position of dominance. And I think for many men, and we were looking at that like, what?
Okay. Well, that is a redefinition of what a patriarchy actually is because it's patriarchy now is an idea. It's not a structure. Okay. Basically, if you compared the old-fashioned the traditional patriarchy, okay, men own the property, men own their even on the continent, right? Okay, take a wife, she has kids. Kids belong to the father and the father's family. They don't belong to the woman. Okay, that ended in the 19th century with Caroline Norton. Okay, and so that's why this is even now this is a quasi patriarchy. Okay. And with the family courts and with the educational system with Title IX, all that kind of stuff, it's really become as they call a state-run gynocracy for white women.
Yeah. Turn this thing down. All right, so I'm gonna pull us back to the video. I think they're shifting gears.
Go ahead.
And this part I haven't seen. Here we go. Let me pull that back up.
It's like my grandmother.
Yeah.
In the burning sun, I'm the lash of a whip. When the day is done, I'm a mother taking her son from the ends of a rope. What he's done, God don't know. I'm the pain my mama felt while she was breaking that cord.
I'm gonna push through a little bit of this.
Okay.
Try and get past the. See if she's still singing. Yeah, it's still going. Now, I will say, just take a look at some of these images, though. Go back up a little. I gotta say this.
Right.
I gotta say this. I played a clip the other night of a woman who was walking around a grocery store, shocked at how many men were hitting on her because she just had braids in her hair, no makeup on.
Okay.
And she was shocked. And she was upset because she said, when I get all made up and get my hair in and everything, nobody pays any attention to me. And I'm like, maybe that's a clue. But she was offended by it. But look at these images. I mean, I remember when this was happening. And I particularly appreciated it a lot more than what I'm seeing now as the beauty standard. But I think one of the differences is even at least in the era of the afros, there was some identification with black men about what black men found attractive.
Right.
I don't think women today define beauty in relation to men. I think they high five each other on the extent to which they ignore men. But I think that's very specific to the West, and I think it's highlighted, more than ever by black women. But in other parts of the world, women define their aesthetic in relation to what their men find attractive.
Yeah. That's the whole reason to have the aesthetic, right? Is to attract a mate, right?
It doesn't seem to work like that in Black America.
Not anymore. It doesn't. No.
They compete with each other on terms that they've defined as beautiful that men often don't find beautiful at all.
And then demand that you do, right?
And demand that you do. There we go.
You ain't got no talent. If you didn't have a face, you wouldn't be nobody. And she said, God created heaven and earth and all that's black within them. So he said, you ain't really no hot stuff. They tell me plenty sisters take care of better business than you. And she said, on the third day he made chitterlings and all good things to eat and said, that's good. So he said, if the white folks hadn't been under your skirt and been giving you the big plate, you'd have had to come uptown like anybody else. And she replied, Then he took a big black greasy rib from Adam and said, we will call this woman, and her name will be Sapphire, and she will divide into 4 parts that Simone may sing a song. And he said, you're pretty full of yourself, ain't you? So she replied, show me someone not full of herself, and I'll show you a hungry person. That's the poem I did for you.
Yes, I think I should probably tell you, you know, maybe other people don't, that I had that said to me in 1942. I worked at the Howard Theater in Washington, and a black band leader told me, there's millions better looking, sing better, and it hadn't been for you being picked by white folks, you know, you couldn't make it. And it stuck with me a long, long time in my life, and I'm still trying to learn how to sing. But I say, inside every black woman, there's an Aretha screaming to come out.
You better believe it.
And that's me.
That's, yeah. You know, I don't think that you are the most imitated singer, black or white, as they say, in the world.
I think that happened because I was picked to, like the man said, I was picked at that time to be what they thought a black woman was like. I was picked even before my own development. And when they picked me, they found they had a tiger by the tail, because they really didn't know what was inside of me. And I was made to look like someone not me. I was made to look like I had to learn to sing, and I was not allowed to imitate rhythm and blues records because they weren't played very much. And I was raised by middle-class people who didn't believe in singing the blues. And I was made to look like Hedy Lamarr and so forth and so on. That's way before your time.
Oh, nobody remembers Hedy Lamarr.
Nobody remembers that. But I think then...
In case anybody doesn't know, that's Nikki Giovanni interviewing Lena Horne.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just in case. Sometimes I forget, you know.
Yeah.
The different ages and experience levels with people. So just wanted to put that out there. If you're not familiar with either Nikki Giovanni or Lena Horne, feel free to look them up.
Mm-hmm.
And the girls who began to have the opportunity at that time, because they had finally opened the way for one, they began to put them into the same image too. And so we had a whole decade or so of girls who thought it expedient to imitate me because I was making it, you see.
They say you've been trying to change your image. I don't know what that means.
Well, I think what it means probably is that since Greensboro, as recent as that, and sit-ins, I was able to flee my establishment stereotype because young people had freed me. And I think that since I always have been what I am inside, that I've been able to survive because they really didn't kill anything black in me.
I was, because I remember you were out in, I think, Las Vegas, and you beat that guy bloody with your shoe.
Yeah, well, I drew a little blood. It was in Los Angeles.
It was in Los Angeles.
That probably was the first time I felt less lonely by the isolation that was imposed upon me by very nature of it, and its definitive isolation from my own people, from white people. This middle thing that I was in had kept me very much alone spiritually too. And I got insulted. I had frequently done so, but I hadn't done it at the place where there were a couple of reporters around. And the guy made me mad, and I struck him violently because I am violent in a way.
You trying to say violence purges the soul?
No, he just made me mad. And sometimes your madness just mounts into, you know, beautiful madness. And I struck him, and I got tons of mail and letters and telegrams from black people who said, you know, hey, thank you, and how wonderful. And all I said, my God, I'm not alone. And that was in the 50s. I had lived a long time without that feeling. And there are so many young black people now who I see doing things that are revolutionizing me and the world.
Let me sort of ask a question.
Let me stop and ask a question real quick. What are your thoughts about violence as it relates to black women and how it's understood both in the black community and the mainstream? What are your thoughts about where black women are with violence, how violence is kind of treated in the black community, especially violence from women to men?
Violence by black women is seen as justified. Is necessary and justified. In other words, no matter what she does, even down to putting, bullets in you, okay, she's justified for doing it. There's something that you have done that actually justify her for actually doing something violent to you. It's never her being mean or evil or dysfunctional or anything like that. It's you have done something that she has rendered justice upon you.
Mm-hmm. So it's always justified.
It's always justified, yeah.
And it seems to me there's very little criticism that is taken seriously as it pertains to Black women and their behavior. In regard to violence.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you've seen it with young women going into a store and tearing down all the apparatus and throwing it all around and punching on people and then walking out. It's seen as justified by society. Okay, she's angry, like Lena Horne. I'm angry. It's built up, and I took it out, and the women even back in the 50s said it was justified. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Same way I felt. I want to hit somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I want to punch somebody.
Yeah.
Whereas Black men do the same thing, it's villainized.
It's villainized. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the stats around intimate partner violence, we find what Tommy Curry has been talking about for years since the Man Not, that violence in the Black community is bidirectional.
It's bidirectional. Not only bidirectional, it's bidirectional now. It didn't used to be, okay? It used to be Black women taking out their frustration on their Black men.
Yeah. Oh, there are whole periods where they exceeded Black men in the amount of violence they would extend.
Yes.
And somehow, Black men became the face of intimate partner violence, even though that a lot of that was bidirectional.
Bidirectional, yeah, it was. In fact, he said it in subculture of violence, right? Black women are considered one of the most violent group in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but strangely enough, I only brought it up because listening to Lena Horne talk about this revelatory moment where people supported her for extending this act of violence. I'm looking at this in 1970, and yet by the time we get to 2026, it's treated as an act of heroism, even if she's in the wrong.
Even if she's in the wrong, yeah.
There's no critical space for observing and critiquing Black women's violence. It only goes one way.
Yeah, even down to basically committing violence against her own children. She's frustrated. She's a Black woman. She's frustrated. Society's beating her down. She's got no choice except to take her frustrations out on people that are under her.
Right. Okay. Let's go.
Be difficult. Like you grew up with, but professionally with Billie Holiday and Dinah Washington. Yes. And you survived, and they didn't. I'm sort of asking, I guess, to respond to that, like, why?
I don't know. I didn't want anybody to kill me. I think I didn't want them to destroy me. I mean, let's say I won't say hate because it's very bad, and I've not allowed myself until recently to love and open myself up to love. I was strengthened by my active disinvolvement, hidden, but it kept me surviving. And I think my background, my people must have. I find great migrations made by my great-great-grandmother on both sides that I didn't know anything about until I was in my 40s, and they survived, and it must be in us. Yeah. I'm sorry that, you see, I love Billie very much, and I love Dinah, and they were both very gentle women to me. They were very good to me when I was starting. And I think I began to know about the sisterhood during those years.
You had a personal tragedy. Your father died, and then your son.
Yes, this past 6 months I've lost my father and my son, and they were both Black men that I was denied until I was along in my years. My father and my mother separated when I was 3, and my son was taken from me when he was 3. But I got to know them when I was older, and they really fulfilled a great deal.
When you got ready to marry Minnie Hayden, one of the statements that you made was that you didn't have the strength to marry a Black man. How did you?
I had married first a Black man, and I wasn't a big enough woman to help him. I didn't. I married him because I had nobody. I ran away from life as a chorus girl at 16 and a stepfather who was white that I didn't understand. And then I found out how difficult it was for a Black man to live at that time and to exist. And I failed him. I didn't know I didn't have enough consolation in myself because I'd never had it to give to him.
Holy
Ooh,
shit!
shit. Yeah. Ooh. Clip it, Doc. Clip it, Doc.
I was not ready for that.
Clip it, Doc.
You know, I was like, I don't know. We might have to scoot through a Lena Horne interview real quick, but damn.
And she dropped one for you. Okay. It's right there.
Oh my God. So first off, she lost her father and her son, whom she didn't know.
Yeah.
And only, just within the last six months, she lost both of them.
Right.
But then to add on to that, she didn't know either one of them.
No.
And
very
then
common.
And then to add on to that, she leaves home at a young age, underage, to get away from a white stepfather she says she didn't understand, to marry a black man, and admit that she could not give him. She didn't know enough.
Yes. To help him.
About her own experience to understand.
Yeah, to help understand or help him. Or help him navigate. Okay.
I don't even see a woman who's lived this life in 2026, a celebrity at that, able to be this straightforward. I don't think it happens now. I think the sisterhood has created a language where, it would be his fault. It would be the men's fault. It would be something else. That's not what she said.
Yeah, she's admitting that she failed.
I don't think I've ever heard that in my lifetime where a black woman said, no, I failed.
I loved him, but I failed him. So.
Wow. I'm sorry. That's deep. That is deep. Shit. We're gonna go back into it, but I just needed a second.
I had a feeling you were gonna stop it.
I had to, man. Come on. I'm like, wait, Lena Horne just said that?
Yeah.
Shit.
Out loud, yes. Yeah.
And she looks actually vulnerable right now.
Yeah. For a black woman to admit that she failed a black man.
Wow.
And she couldn't help him.
Wow.
Against the circumstances that the nation was actually putting him through. Yeah.
I don't think this would be even a thing in 2026.
No, it wasn't. It's a rare thing back then.
Yeah. But she still did it. Shout out to Lena Horne.
She didn't blame Jermaine.
No, she didn't. I mean, I posted something on her a few months ago on my Facebook page where she was invited to perform for soldiers,
right?
Some kind of event, and I think they were still at war. But she noticed where they placed her. The black men were in the back of the room.
Okay.
And what she did is she decided to walk up to where the black men were,
right?
Turn her back to the white soldiers and sang to the black men, the black male soldiers. I was like, you know what? Hey, shout out to Lena Horne. I don't know how many Lena Hornes there are left. I don't, but shout out to her. I'm gonna let it go, but damn, I just had to say something. Yeah.
What do you think about the Angela Davis case? What do you think about Angela?
I think that I hate to see another one about my young women being destroyed.
When Angela was arrested, they had a thing uptown. Her mother came, her sister was up there. And one of the parents at 13, I believe.
I gotta say, when I was young, I remember when Bill Cosby on the Cosby Show, he might have brought her on more than once, but there was definitely one show where he was fawning all over, he was drooling. Yeah. And his wife wasn't even jealous. She set it up to where he got to see her perform, I think as a birthday gift or whatever.
I remember that, yeah.
And I remember thinking I had heard of Lena Horne. I'd heard her perform. I'd seen her in movies, but I didn't understand
how big she was, yeah.
Well, no, more than how big she was, I didn't understand why he was treating her that way. And then after a while, I thought, maybe it's just because, how beautiful she was. But watching this, I'm now understanding there are other elements to her that I think many black men appreciated in terms of what she brought to the table and how she carried herself and what kinds of things she would say. Now, I'm not saying she's perfect or any of that, but I am saying, when is the last time you've seen a Lena Horne in 2026?
Oh, gosh.
You tell me.
Her statue, no. You won't see one. Yeah. You see the lower level women that do it. Like Nina Turner is a lower level woman that does it, but a woman of her statue, no, you're not gonna see it.
I haven't seen it. I don't know if I've seen it. Anyway, I'm just gonna say I haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
As one brother said, look, this is what one brother said.
Extinct. Yes. Yeah. She comes from a different era.
Shit. That's a sad thought.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Okay, so this must have been when she went in. She just went in. All right, I'm trying to avoid. I don't think there'll be a copyright issue, but I kind of want to focus on, the spoken word at this point. All right, here we go.
I don't think, maybe all the sisters don't know what the K building is.
Well, K building is the building up in Harlem Hospital that was taken over by community people, I for one. And first time it ever was done, we're still fighting to keep control. But like we tell the doctors, we do our thing or don't be no thing. We blow it up. I mean that. I don't care if the CIA is, blow it up, because it has to be a change. People have to stand up, especially black people, for their principles. Because, other groups don't think that we have too many principles, that it's nothing really that we want, that we think is worth fighting for. We can always go over in Vietnam and kill somebody damn near look like us. But we never, have banned our resources and our dreams to actually get something constructive. We're always fighting somebody else's wars, fighting for somebody else's ideals. We never really want to fight for ourselves. That's why, as the sister was saying, the K building meant so much. This was something for our people, something we believed in, to the extent that we would have died right there. And for me, myself, it's the first time I ever had anything that meant that much to me.
Those were drug addicts who wanted.
Well, we opened it mostly because we took it. We had, just like you said, we went here, we went there, asking everybody, could we get facilities for adolescents? And every day you always heard, I'll call you, don't call me. So then one rainy evening, we decided to go up there and take 2 floors that were badly needed in a community of 150,000 addicts. Because as the sisters here say, you get tired of watching your people die. So we took it. Well, we had a principle. This is what I'm saying. The principle is still there, and every day we don't relax. We keep right on so we can get it perfect. At least we're able, like she said, to save the children. And this is what we have to do. You have to save the children in order to save the race.
I want to say something that some of you may just.
Now, BGS.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still hear women saying that now? That the focus needs to be on the children, and that needs to set the priority culturally and politically for how the black community moves. Do you hear that anymore?
No. Well, it's a different generation. Okay. And I think that died. I think that died after the 70s. I think in the 80s that died. There was a focus on the children in maybe the 70s, like your generation when you were coming up, but that kind of died.
Okay, there we go.
Agree with, and that is, I don't think you can just work for black children. I think that the minute you start working on the problems of the black child, you find that you have to be concerned about all children, don't you?
Look at the way they're looking at it.
That's from this point of view. Yeah.
All 3 of them looking at it like,
what are you talking about? Yep.
I'm sorry, that moment. Just look.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's funny. I may be wrong, but they may agree with her. I haven't seen this part, but I'm just looking at the look on their faces. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're working on drugs.
Well, don't ask me that. I will never refuse any human being to come in there, but I'm concerned about mine, because you can't go, up in the Bronx when you haven't even cleaned up. I can't clean up my house. In other words, I don't want to clean up yours. I got to clean up mine first, just like this is to say, then clean up yours. Because like drugs with us has been in our community for 25 or 30 years. Nobody really ever cared. We have kids up there 13 years old, been on drugs 2.5 years. And the Board of Education haven't even missed my school. Like we say, they freed us 300 and some years ago, turned around 50 years later and gave us dope. So I don't really go, for all of that about going across the river and doing something. I think we should stay on this side, trying to do what we have to do for each other.
I don't think that we can work just on our own problems unless we are concerned about the total society. And as a matter of fact, unless we go across the river too, and we're concerned about a lot of things happening in the world. This is a very small planet, and we feel the impact of these forces. I don't think that we can concentrate just on what you call.
This is an interesting little menagerie here. It's a collection of ideologies at play, right? So she's an assimilationist.
Yeah.
you have the grassroots revolutionary, you have the black feminist, you have the almost kind of everyday womanist. I mean, it's an interesting collection of different ideologies that if you're not paid in, you wouldn't even know what the differences were.
These are, we got to remember, in 1970, these are relatively new. They haven't been fixed and hardened yet.
Well, it's interesting when you say hardened, because I don't even see some of these ideologies represented anymore.
They've been absorbed and they've been morphed and they've been hardened, and you know it's and sometimes it's even been hidden.
Yeah,
it's even been hidden. If it wasn't people like Hezekiah, you would never know about this stuff.
Yeah, shout out to Hezekiah News. Appreciate the work that brother's doing. I don't know if it's a brother or a team.
It's a brother in Baltimore.
Okay, shout out to him. Here we go.
Black nation, so long as we exist in America, which is a sick society. Don't you think we have to work on that?
No, I don't. You know, I
just want to define this as a difference.
I appreciate everything you're saying, but quite often when people do not understand, they cannot relate. And I don't really think you understand what's going on.
Oh my.
In Black communities. I think you're very comfortable. I mean, I please
go ahead.
I think you're very comfortable
like bourgeoisie.
sitting in your office and trying to be very community oriented from your desk and in your plush air conditioned place.
Not very
no, but you have to get. I would like to see your office moved to a rat infested.
If I can one of them roach infested. Right.
The black bourgeoisie, man, they're giving her a lesson. Okay, don't come in here with this stuff. We've heard this before.
You need to be in a roach infested.
yeah, office like mine. Yeah, and see if you still have the same opinion. Yeah.
There we go.
But my point is, you have to understand how the system operates in order to take it over and to make it more responsive to you. Now there are ways of, and I think there are ways of turning programs around. I think all of you are involved in that.
Take a walk.
Really?
Pardon?
Take a ride. I mean, really, well, you get there. We're at 114th Street and 8th Avenue, then curve all up through there. You see how the system works.
Indeed.
You will see how the system works. And when we see, professional people of our own race start to work with that system, and we know, where it's coming from. And a lot of us black people have to begin to learn that we are black, and that man will always look at us just as that. Regardless of how much he might eat with us and pat us on our back, he still look at us for just what we are.
This little light of mine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. I'm going to let it shine so bright, let it shine. This little light of mine will burn so bright that not only my people, but all people will see it burn. Burn, baby, burn.
Ooh, okay. Wow.
Okay. All right. Okay, hold on. All right. Let's see. Is this it?
The Shrine of the Black Madonna here in Detroit is an interesting church for many reasons. First of all, it has a Black Madonna. Secondly, it celebrates a Black theology. And third, it celebrates holidays in an interesting way, a Black way, as it should be. Case in point, Women's Day, October 25th. Here at the Shrine, the theme was New Directions for Black Women in the Liberation Struggle.
Traditionally, in Black churches, there's a Women's Day, which has no relevance to anything that's important to Black people. It's just a fundraising activity by Black churches where women go out and try to raise as much money as they can. We are concerned with making the Women's Day a festival which symbolizes, points out, highlights the importance of Black women to the church and to the total liberation struggle.
What time is it? Then let the Black nation rise. Then let the Black nation rise.
What I'm going to say will be in two parts. The first part will be talking about Black women in the struggle, and it's called Queens of the Universe, because Black women be queens. If they could just see this.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, man. What?
The jokes write themselves, right?
God dang, man.
you know the reason that Polly Murray and the black females became Black feminists is because they thought they didn't get proper recognition in the civil rights movement, especially with the March on Washington. Okay,
Uh-huh.
they said we should have had equal access and equal promise on that stage with Martin Luther King. They still haven't forgotten that. So,
damn.
In other words, they weren't in there. In black women's mind, this is their rightful place.
Queen mothers of the universe, huh?
Queen mothers of the universe. Yes. Okay.
All right. With black men underfoot carrying out orders.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that go.
What do you say? We're concussors, right?
Oh shit. Yeah, man. They're not happy unless we are.
Yeah, I was telling Jeff. I said black men carry the bulk of emotional labor in the black community. They do.
It's an unspoken set of expectations in terms of what we're supposed to provide.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You got to do it. And if you don't think it's important, don't do it, and watch how quickly your relationships will suffer.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody formally trains you. It's just something you're supposed to learn growing up, particularly under a black mother.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a service you're supposed to provide all black women at their whim. When necessary.
Yeah, you're supposed to know your place, right?
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to know your place.
Know your place. And women have said that, know your place. How many times you heard that? Black man, you need to know your place. They said that, what's her name said that about the ice cube effect, right? Okay. You Kevin Samuel quoting Tariq Nasheed following, okay?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Know your place, basically. Get behind your black woman.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that black men are pushing back against. It's not the queen mother idea by itself, although that has become in many ways a red flag for us. But it's what's part and parcel to that idea, which is a hierarchy with you underfoot. You serve.
You serve. You serve. Barack Obama did that during the election when he talked about Kamala Harris.
Well, not before he was socially punished for disagreeing with her as the pick for the Democratic Party.
Right.
He had to be punished for that.
He'd be punished for that. He still had to go out and deliver that speech by chastising the brothers, right?
Yep. Yep. Called all the black men sexist and couldn't handle women in charge. And I'm like, Negro, this is all we've known since childhood. From kindergarten to grad school, if that's what you choose to do, you're going to be under a lot of women's feet. Is what it is. So this whole idea, and then when you look at the voting record of black men, they found that black men were the most progressive voter.
Yes. Yeah.
Did Barack or anybody else apologize on for that position that the Democratic Party is taking on black men?
Joy Reid did a little bit afterwards, okay, when she chastised the white women for going the other way. She did say that we made a mistake, and she did say we need to apologize to black men.
Here's my issue. If you're going to bring out the first black male president and have him call black men sexist, then the apology needs to be on par with how the offense was given.
Yeah. Just think, man, how much black society could have changed had Michelle Obama advocated for black boys. How big of a change will we have seen in the past 15 years, 20 years, in the black community? Had she just advocated, not she didn't have to go out and start, just advocated for the rights of black boys.
I think I accidentally, hold on. Yep, hold on. Yeah, I might need your help later. I banned somebody from the studio, but I banned the wrong person.
Okay.
I might have to. Afro Merchant, if you're listening, it was an accident. I'm going to get you back in. My apologies. Let me let this continue.
Their beauty, you see. We black women have been called many things. Foxes, matriarchs, sapphires, sisters, and recently queens. I would say that black women have been a combination of all them words, because if we examine our past history at one time or another, we've had to be like them words be saying. But today, there are some words we can discard. There be some we must discard for our own survival, for our own sanity, for the contributions we must make to our emerging black nation.
and we must move to as the only queens of this universe to sustain, keep our sanity in this insane, messed up, die-conscious, pill-taking, masochistic, misand-orientated society got to be dealt with. Because that's us. You all hear me? Us. Black women, the only queens of this universe. Even though we be stepping unqueenly sometimes. Like it ain't easy being a queen in this unrighteous world full of Miss Anns and Mr. Anns. But we steady trying.
Women have been traditionally, historically, tremendously important to any oppressed people in the sense of making it possible for an oppressed people to survive, making it possible for them to pass on some of the traditions and culture of a people when the existence of a man was seriously threatened from day to day and from week to week and month to month. And so really for that reason, we call the church the Shrine of the Black Madonna to symbolize not only the religious significance of Mary as the mother of Jesus, but the significance of all black women and the generations of struggle and sacrifice that black women have made in making it possible for black people to survive and come to this day. It's also important that we realize that in this day, the role of black women has changed because we're much more clear about what the liberation struggle is all about. And black women have the task now of creating young black people, black children and black adults who can participate in a liberation struggle that seeks for independence and for freedom and for community control and the things which are important to people who are seriously engaged in liberation.
Whenever someone speaks of revolution, we don't have to say that revolution, what are we doing now trying to change things? We didn't just wait until now to start trying to change things.
That evening, the women put together a festival that spoke to the church members about blackness and history of black revolution. Recognition was awarded the most interesting presentations, and a soul food dinner was served. A black celebration for Women's Day and a black church, the Shrine of the Black Madonna. This is George Martin in Detroit for Black Journal.
Ladybird, 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 fly away home. Your house is on fire and rats on the phone.
Now that natural was
Can I ask you one question you don't have to answer?
That afro was 100% natural.
It was. Yes, it was.
I'm not mad about it though. It's just that I ain't seen natural like that in a long time.
You won't see one like that.
Is cute on her. She's a little girl. It's all good, you know.
Recently, a white show asked you to give them 90 minutes. Why did you turn that down?
I turned it down because in the first place, I'd rather do it on my own show if I had one, if we had one. And I didn't feel like giving my life to someone that I don't feel very close to.
I want to ask you a question. What's the sisterhood? What do you
Well, I wouldn't be so crude as to call it a black mafia, but I would say anybody that has a feeling of clan and not KK, but relativeness and familyness is what my sisterhood means.
Yeah, but what?
I'm afraid that because I didn't have one of my own, I've latched onto the one I'm entitled to. Well, I didn't have sisters or brothers or my mom and papa, you know, and so I have you all.
Where do you think you're going? You know?
Well, I'm still a little numb at the moment from the past 6 months, but I feel adventuresome. I don't think I'm just going to sit down. I don't necessarily mean singing or. I'm not a lecturer. I'm not a writer. I'm not a. I'm just. I guess I'm a performer. But I feel creative. I feel I need to be around people. I like it now, and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to stop.
There are many, many things that we can do if we look at ourselves seriously as a nation and not get preoccupied with the goings-on of someone else and get preoccupied with what we're doing. You know, there are resources in the black community. We should use those resources and we should move around, you know, in such a way as though we were seriously thinking about having a nation.
I agree.
And seriously, and not just say it because it sounds good or say it because it is hip, because nationalism is not faddism. And I think that a lot of people are identifying with different things because it is hip to identify with certain things, but it is hipper to understand that we're slaves and we have to be free. And it's even hipper to work it out, you know, our freedom, national liberation for black people.
But what about the sisters who don't agree with you? Then who has to deal with them?
Well, it's not about agreeing with me.
It's about doing.
It's not about it.
No, they will just say, I don't agree. It is, you know,
Well,
we just have that, you know, she can say, I don't agree with you. You know,
Right.
my man won't let me do that. I don't want to do that. And what
But-
will happen to these people?
I'm not going to preoccupy myself in terms of what will happen to them, because I know that more people are preoccupied with freedom. No one wants to be a slave.
But are we talking about Black nation? I'm talking about Black people who haven't quite gotten the mind thing together. So we have to preoccupy our minds.
I think that because all Black people don't say they're nationalists, and because all Black people don't, you know, wear braids or naturals and traditional clothes, don't mean they're not nationalists now. Now, they're nationalists, but they just don't use the word.
Now, BGS.
Uh-huh.
Now, you and I have a similar origin coming out of the conscious community.
Right.
So you're the perfect person to have this conversation with. Obviously, nationalism at this time was in favor in many parts of the community. What do you think has happened since in terms of nationalism in 2026? Where do you see it today?
Okay. I think what has happened is something Hewlett told me a long time ago, right? How do you actually kill a revolution, right? Called redress grievances, okay? Most of your grievances have been redressed, okay? Not completely, but mostly, okay? You don't have the hard whip of Jim Crow on your back. You do have access to certain rights and stuff like that, even though you don't always get them, but you have access to them. So I think that's what has happened, and I think as we've gone through the tenets of nationalism. Okay, nobody ever has actually said what does nationalism actually mean. Okay. How are you going to do it? What does it mean? Is it necessary? Blah blah blah. In fact, you got to remember, we might want it, but guess what? You have people that don't want you to be nationalists. What do? They put they start breaking up your neighborhoods. They put other people in Black neighborhoods. We don't, for the most part, in Los Angeles, there is no such thing as a Black neighborhood. It's mixed. It's mixed with Latinos. Okay, they put people of color, which is another homogenization of Black people. Okay, and what they've done is subtly gentrified, not by white people, but by Latinos and others, your neighborhood. So I was saying that with about to people in Chicago. They said, well, Chicago's the hood. I said, Chicago's a Black neighborhood. I said 30% of your hood is 35% of your hood is what is Latino immigrants. How can it be all Black? It's not. So it's being absorbed by the greater society. So I don't even know what Black nationalism really means, because I asked people, what does it mean? So then you got a clearer idea, because just out of slavery, just off the cotton fields, just out of Jim Crow, you knew what it was for independent, a cohesive group. Okay, and even if it's bound by trauma. Okay, what happens when that trauma is dissipated? What's going to happen to the cause for you actually stick together?
Okay. Let's see here. Well, I do have to, but
and then your Black woman wants to trade you in to let Uncle Sam be her baby daddy. Does that do?
Yeah.
To a Black national.
Yeah. So you're talking about over the last really more than half century, each of the tenets of nationalism has been responded to.
Yeah, it's been responded to and basically neutralized for the most part. With redressing grievances, allowances, certain privileges and rights that have been given to you by the state. Okay, including your women. Your women have more privileges and rights than you do. Education, welfare, jobs, all that kind of stuff. She's been given way more rights than you, and she's more than half of your society. So what's going to happen to your so-called nation? It's been bought out by greater powers.
Well, we've also talked about this element, but I want you to add this to it. The conscious community's response to this gender dynamic. How do you think young Black men view you know, whether it be the conscious community, the nationalist community, how do they view their response to really this misandry that we've seen embraced by Black culture?
Most, you know, and you've been inside the groups, most Black nationalists do not recognize misandry. Black misandry. They don't. They either don't recognize it or they said it's not a real thing.
Right.
In fact, they get you. I don't have to tell you. They get shocked when you bring it up.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And they try to silence you for bringing it up.
For bringing it up. Yeah.
And I know you've dealt with your share of that.
Oh yes, all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, but I told the brother a couple of years ago, I said, I think one of the things that does impact the growth and expansion of contemporary ideas about nationalism, it's not the only thing, but one of the things that impacts it is young men are not particularly appreciating the lack of accountability as it relates to Black women's behavior in the conscious community, in the nationalist community. Black women are kind of unchecked. And it's very much out of the culture of what we're seeing here. The queen mother is not to be critiqued. She's not to be analyzed. She's supposed to be pedestalized and followed.
And you notice, and they're deciding what Black men get. Okay, not vice versa. They decide what they will allow, how they're going to act. Okay, has nothing to do with us. Okay, in other words, we're a means to their end. Okay, by allowing us or by them being submissive to us, okay, what will they actually get them in the long run?
Okay, I mean, here we go.
Because no one wants to be a slave. And there's no Black person on this planet who will disagree with freedom. So, like, I don't know whether, you know, we can consider that or not.
What you're saying is then that it's that many people will be working on things from different perspectives. Be working on the problems of freedom from in different ways.
Exactly. Sure, they'll work on, people work at the level they can understand. Because they don't understand certain levels does not mean that they're not nationalistic. It just means they're not conscious enough to understand certain levels of what's going on. But that is your job. If you were conscious enough to understand it, then it is your job to make sure that those who understand one will understand two. And that is the job of, you know, the conscious nationalist. And Imam always says that if you're a nationalist and you're talking bad about someone else and you're not doing anything to, you know, to get them where you think they should be, then it's you, because you're that hip, then you should be hip enough to change them.
Painters, why do you always paint white virgins? Don't you know there are beautiful Black angels in heaven also? Painters, paint beautiful Black angels.
Okay, hold on, this might be.
Things, not like my image. When I was a teenager, I used to sit on front porch steps conversing the gym teacher's son with embryonic eyes about the essential essence of the universe, recognizing the basic powerlessness of me. But then I went to college where I learned that just because everything I was unreal, I could be real. And not just real through withdrawal into emotional crosshairs or colored bourgeois intellectual pretensions, but from involvement with things approaching reality, I could possibly have a life. So catatonic emotions and time-wasting sex games were replaced with functioning commitments to logic and necessity, and the gray area was slowly darkened into a black thing. For a while, progress was made, along with a certain degree of happiness, because I wrote a book and found a love and organized a theater and even gave some lectures on Black history, and began to believe all good people could get together and win without bloodshed. Then Hammarskjöld was killed, and Lumumba was killed, and Diem was killed, and Kennedy was killed, and Malcolm was killed, and Evers was killed, and Swerner, Cheney, and Goodman were killed, and Louisio was killed, and Stokely fled the country, and Leroy was arrested, and Rapp was arrested, and Pollard, Thompson, and Cooper were killed, and King was killed, and Kennedy was killed. And sometimes I wonder why I didn't become a debutante, sitting on doctors' porches, going to church all the time, wondering, is my eye makeup on straight? Or withdrawn, discoursing on the stars and the moon, instead of a for real black person who must now feel and inflict pain.
Okay, so that's the end of it. And in response, though, because I can't help but address this question of the zeal for nationalism at the time, the zeal for what was possible. I got to put this into context, and y'all who've been listening to my show for the longest know how I'm gonna go about doing so. I got to shout out Bobby Wright. I got to shout out Bobby Wright and let him explain what took place in the 70s and 80s.
Why you never hear nobody talk about the 70s? How many of you talk about the 70s? Nobody. Everybody, boy, in the you were in the 80s. You know what I mean? Nobody. Because in the 70s, those whites regrouped and wiped us out. Guess what happened? White women saw their men in trouble. And like all female animals, anytime the male gets in trouble, the female will attack. That is the law of nature. A law of nature. Don't believe it? We can prove it in a zoo anytime you want to. Now, what happened? White women came out and captured our women and convinced us that white women were not as racist as white men, and convinced us, or convinced our women, that they would place them above their husbands, their brothers, their lovers, their children, their sons, and we went. Then the white gays came out, convinced our gays it was a gay struggle. Okay, okay. White students came out and grabbed our black students. Said it was a student struggle and wiped out our black students. And all of a sudden, we have to wonder where's the fight. You know what I mean? It's not a black. So now they're coming up with books such as book of The Decline and Significance of Race. Brother named Wilson wrote that book, who is the chairperson of the Department of Sociology at the University of Chicago. That's very revealing. Because out of that same department came who? Black Gynocracy. E. Franklin Frazier, 1939. That is the Chicago school where you show. So what Wilson is saying, his brother wrote this book, Declining Significance of Race. And race is declining in significance, and now class becomes important. Of course, Wilson is the only black in the Department of Sociology at the University of Chicago. That's one reality. The other reality is white. Now, race declines every night. You know, that's what it's all about.
All right. So shout out to Bobby Wright, but I think he puts a lot of this into context for us in a way to help us understand, because you can hear the zeal in it. You can hear the hope for what, revolutionary thought would change in this country. And then to fast forward to the 1980s and see how quickly it's responded to. I think it's necessary when you listen to an interview in 1970 to really kind of put some context to what happened afterwards.
Right.
It's so much different today, but these were some of the things that led up to that. But is there anything you want to add to that?
I think there was a Nigerian here actually wrote a book called Elite Capture. Okay, and that's what you see, how these movements are becoming actually absorbed by the elite and then morphed into something else. Just like the civil rights struggle was actually absorbed by white female elite and it was actually added to their agenda. Okay, there was no such thing as white women are not a minority. Never have been.
Right.
Okay? And so how did they get minority status? They're actually added to. They actually absorbed what? Were given the black civil rights movement and by black female feminists and absorbed our movement, and guess who got the gains from it?
Yeah.
And you still see the same thing. Now it's not, like you said. Now it's not just the black student men or the black students. Now it's gays and white females and all kinds of LGBTQ stuff like that, right? And now they want to add who? Okay, immigrants, illegal immigrants in that group. Yeah,
they absolutely are.
So the civil rights movement has been captured and subverted by the elite, and most of that is with the help of our women. Because if you look on campus about black struggle and stuff like that, who leads it? Who's the spokesman for it? It's not black men, it's black women.
Yeah, if black men are there.
If black men are there.
That's a whole nother part of that agenda. But no, absolutely. There's actually a post that I'm going to see if I can pull up that you might find interesting about all of this. But my computer is kind of freezing up, so I'm not sure why it's moving so slow. But yeah, damn it. There we go. Now it's starting to wake up. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. Whenever I put BGS in the title, all of a sudden, this thing stopped working and the internet go out, and I'm like, man, what?
The ops are after you, man.
Even when we get on the phone, man, the phone stops working. I'm like, man.
And wake up, Neil. The Matrix has you. Okay,
man. This is apparently going down. But I think people know at Howard University. Very recently, there's been going along with the shifts we're seeing in Trump's administration as far as higher education is concerned. There have been some changes, and kind of wanted to show that here because I think it fits.
Okay.
Here we go. Let me just set this up a little bit. My apologies. This wasn't something I planned, but since I have BGS here, I like to take advantage of it.
You know how often I actually hear that one.
Well, I'm not going to apologize, sir. But let's check this out.
I'm so sorry. I know. Her balance is practically zero. Her scholarship came in today. She only owes $1,400. I told them I will pay this now.
I'm Jay Lawson on the campus of Howard University because over 500 students have been unenrolled at Howard incoming freshman class. Now, the vice president of enrollment says that basically the tuition had to be paid 50% on the account in order for the students to secure their enrollment. However, parents say that the emails have been confusing, frustration. A lot of parents have come up to the administration building offering to pay the remaining balance of what they believe is left on the accounts, and the administration is telling them that there is nothing that they can do. The vice president of enrollment also says that some cases will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis because there are a lot of external funding and scholarships that needed to be applied to accounts. But right now, a lot of the students who have been turned away, their families say that they don't know what they are going to do.
Like, what's this? Money is the problem that can be solved. It's not fair. I called since May trying to get in contact with somebody. They did not respond. And when they did respond, they gave me miscommunication. They said the calls are recorded. They can pull those calls to hear what the rep told me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
All right.
It's called a lawsuit, baby. You're gonna have to file a lawsuit. Yeah.
How would you put that in context with what we've been talking about, the shifts since the 1970s? What are we seeing now?
I don't know what this has to do with it, but I think slowly but surely they're trying to mainstream a lot of your HBCUs, especially elite ones like Howard. Howard has been allowing non-black students in for a very long time. So, especially their medical school. I think the medical school has lots of non-black people in it.
Okay. Well, I was just curious. I mean, like I said, I don't always get the brother on here, so let me throw some things out.
Unfortunately, at HBCUs, this kind of misinformation and miscommunication happens all the time. Okay, I mean, say at a PWI in California, had that happened, and you come up and said, "I will pay the balance," they still would have let the student in. I don't know why they're unenrolling people. And people said, okay, we're going to pay the balance and let these students in. Okay, you already accepted the student. I don't understand why you have to unenroll them. Okay, it doesn't make that doesn't make sense to me as far as a educational institution. You're supposed to do everything you can actually keep a student in class. So where they go, either there's something else going on, like they don't have enough spots, they over enrolled. There's something else going on behind this, because normally they're not this unforgiving.
Yeah, but even beyond just Howard, we're seeing a pushback against higher ed that I think is playing out in a lot of different ways that are sometimes confusing, sometimes more clear. But the pushback is real, and we're starting to see it. I've been noticing for the last few years how few Black men I've been seeing at many of these institutions. It's been dropping. But I was just curious to know if you're seeing things, especially this last year.
Okay, the national push, okay, is because of infrastructure and what's falling behind the BRICS, and especially China infrastructure. They're trying to push people, especially boys, not just Black, all boys, into what? Into trades, because that's what they need. Okay, so they're taking money from the universities, okay, because they're overweighted according to what the needs of the nation, and put it into other things, which is trade schools and stuff like that, which they don't have enough of. Not there's tons of money in trade schools, stuff like that. There's probably more. They actually don't know what to do with all the money. It's because there's not enough schools and personnel to actually train these people. So you're gonna. So this particular case, I don't know enough about it, but there is a trend to, because in the 90s there was a trend to actually increase the enrollment of college students, and they doubled and maybe even tripled the amount of college students in college. Okay, it was never meant to be that high, and now we're going to see the other side, which is the de-escalation of college and college students into something else. So that does happen. So I don't think it's a race thing, but I think it's just a situation of what the society needs right now. They don't need they don't need as many how can I say it bachelorettes or bachelor holders. Okay, what they need is hammer pounders, and what they need is work boots and work gloves right now. Okay, and there's only so much money to be spread around, and that's where Trump and a whole bunch of other people are actually spreading money to.
Well, when we look at for example, the elimination of or the downplaying of DEI, we know that the largest group it impacts is white women, liberal women at that.
Yes.
So these things they can have an impact, but you can tell they also have an impact on Black America. That goes a little further, even if we're not overtly the target, it still has an impact.
And basically, who's the face of the face of DEI? It's Black women, right?
Yeah.
So when they started taking DEI back, even though it impacts white women way more, okay, but the face of it is who? Black women.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really want to appreciate you for coming up. You didn't have to spend your Saturday here. I thank you for that, and for this, discussion about this time period in the 70s, and hearing the different kinds of voices that I don't think we hear anymore. I don't know if they even exist like that.
Well, the thing is, just like seeds arise when the soil changes, right? You're going to get bear different kinds of fruit. Okay. Those voices were necessary back then. Okay, we're going to need different kind of voices now. Okay, some of the same sentiments, but we're going to need different kind of voices. And the thing is, we're going through a big ass transition, and some of those things will have to come back, but things are going to have to be updated. So what they were talking about back in the 60s and 70s is because we're actually in a different time and place. So some of that stuff will come back, okay, because it has to. I think you're going to see a very different Black community going forward. One, because times have changed. Number two, Black men are not in the same place they were in the 60s and 70s. The Black men are global. So there's that. What the Black community will look like going forward, if there's actually going to maintain one. Okay. If they're going to maintain one, women will have to be what they call the mothers of the Black community. They have to become the queens and actually do something instead of just want servitude. They have to do something. Okay.
Well, we'll see.
black women could have used the affirmative action, the EEOC, and all that kind of stuff, and actually promoted their boys, pushed their boys forward. They didn't, because they actually promoted themselves over their own boys, which is, and now guess what? Okay, you didn't produce them. Guess what? Just like you don't grow food, you get hungry. There's no food.
No. I don't know. I don't know if some of those voices will come back, especially if there's no redress of grievances as far as where black men stand. So it's going to be real interesting to see how this just the next 5 years. I'm curious to see how things go.
In 5 years, you're gonna hit an economic wall. Actual economic wall.
You dipped out for a second. You said what?
I said in 5 years you're going to hit an economic wall that they can't avoid. They're already talking about it, okay? And that's what all the wars and stuff before. They're trying to figure a way out to actually avoid this wall we're going to hit.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing evidence of it now.
Oh yeah, I mean you know you're getting close. You're seeing the slow erosion. But thing is, you're going to get almost a hard stop in about 5 years.
You know, even though I know the clip was very specific to Howard, I think in many ways it reflects that hard stop that you're talking about. It may come in different forms and different contexts for different reasons, but I really do think these things are connected. So when I looked at that, it was more than just, oh, they didn't take my payment for the semester. That was bigger than that.
Yeah, because I mean, you are a professor. You know that. And you have a son in college. You know that they're not just going to unenroll kids without a whole bunch of notification for payment. Okay, and they will re-enroll their kid if they get payment. So what's going on with Howard and them unenrolling 500 students or something like that? Okay, I don't know how many there was, but thing is,
I think it was 500.
There's got to be more to it than that. Okay. Got to be more than just money, because money, you know, most institutions, especially colleges, are willing to work with you until they actually can.
Right.
And this is really, you know, if parents are willing to come in and make amends and pay the whole tuition and to keep their kid in school and they're not bending, that there's something more to it than that. I don't know exactly what it is. There's something more to it than that. Yeah.
But I think we're going to probably need to get used to that reaction across the board, not just in higher ed, because I think that hard line in the sand is being drawn, and it's been being drawn. You know, for the last few years, we've been seeing it.
You have a downward sloping of not only of Western power. You have a downward slope in the United States power and economics. You have the imposition of robots and AI. There's all kinds of hard stops that you're going to see in the next 5 years.
And you called it before Trump, because you pointed out that the money was gone.
Money is gone.
Before Trump got elected.
Before Trump got elected, the money's been gone. Yeah, and they've been trying to do all kinds of strange things to get the money back, which is why Congress is allowing the military to do what it does. Go back and reset our money. It's a lot of things, but the thing is, there's so many things converging on us, on this nation at once. Okay, that's why I said unless black women, when we talk about the black community, unless black women doing a hard 180 and start working with us and get out of that delusion, okay, what we think of the black community is probably going to be over, and within I would say 10 to 15 years, it's going to be decimated.
I think it's already irrevocably changed, but you know, the difference between changed and decimated come down to cooperation. You know?
Okay, the thing is, TS Bama, we are not the target. Okay, what we're going through right now is an after effect. Okay, they got much bigger fish to fry than us. Much bigger fish to fry than us. We're a small fish in a very large pond right now. Okay, they're not focusing on us right now. Okay, all the little racism you get is just residual. Okay, most of that stuff is. In fact, you don't really hear about racist stuff that much anymore because that's residual. Because you have bigger fish to fry.
Well, it's still happening. Whether it makes the news is a whole different conversation. And sometimes, even when it makes the news, it doesn't really get to people's attention.
White supremacy is fighting for its survival.
Yeah.
On this planet. Okay, you are not the focus right now. Okay, like I said, you're gonna get residual racism because that doesn't go. That's social. Okay, that's hard. That's hardened into the fabric of the United States. And as you get a decline, all these all these little pieces that are normally controlled by money and comfort will start to come unglued. So you're gonna see bits and pieces of that broken up. But the thing is, you are not the target. I can tell you not the target.
I think historically black men have been the target, and I think that on what you refer to as a residual, I think there's always going to be a
residual. Yeah,
it's always going to be that in some context, but
yeah.
In terms of who they're going after with zeal,
who they're going after with zeal right now are immigrants. Believe it or not, okay, it's not you.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think with black men, it's more of a default alienation, but I think there's a difference when it comes to who they're going after with zeal. That can change from moment to moment, issue to issue, economy to economy.
It can, but the thing is as a national target, okay, racism is not high on their list right now. Racism not high on their list. In fact, they need black men to pick up hammers and start working. That's what they really need. Okay. You probably will see a lot more of that because they need them bodies to actually start building stuff. And black men need to focus on, okay, there's always going to be racism. Okay, there's always going to be racism. Okay, Trump got rid of a whole bunch of, believe it or not, Trump actually helped you by getting rid of a whole lot of immigrants. Okay, that opened up a whole lot of spots for black men, but you have to take advantage of it. Because Biden was the biggest danger to a black man's livelihood and outlook, and bringing in undocumented immigrants into your country. But thing is, that's economics. Okay, well, I know the thing is, if you're going to focus on white supremacy, you got to look at it as a whole and not the piece that just focused on you. Will there be prejudice and racism toward black men in the society? It has been for 40 years. It's not going to change.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it's not going to change. But the thing is, you're not the main target.
Well,
in the past, you may have been, but right now, you're not.
Okay, we're gonna have to.
You might not be in the top 5. Go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna have to close it out here.
Okay.
Because I'll explain to you in a second, good brother, but I'm afraid I got to shift it out here. But I want to thank BGS for coming through. I want to thank everybody for coming through. And please make sure that you subscribe. I think I'm only about 11 people away from 44,000 subs. I'd like to get to 50. So support the show if you will. Hit the hype button, like the show.
And actually share this with other people, because what we talk about is very vital to other people outside the circle. So share it. Yeah. Put it up on your Facebook. Put it up on your parts of it up on your Twitter.
All right. Much appreciation. So I'm gonna close it out here, and I will holler at y'all soon. Peace. I am here to tell you, brothers, we are not criminals by birth, perennial rapists, incapable intellects, man-children, sperm donors, child support wellsprings, success objects, walking phalluses, ATM machines, lottery tickets, unintelligent henchmen, valueless assassins, pro bono mercenaries, unpaid bodyguards, interchangeable stepfathers, child discipline proxies, unpaid repairmen, workhorses, emotional tampons, or any other socially accepted dehumanizing stereotype. We are thinkers, inventors, innovators, leaders, fathers, and men. Embrace your humanity, know your worth, and extend your time, attention, and resources only to those who genuinely respect you. And remember, your worth is not defined by meeting other people's narcissistic and selfish and unrealistic needs. You define your worth. Peace.